joins, we'll just add them as they come in, if that's the
That's right.
case.
If they want to
Good
be cool
afternoon,
and hang out with us.
David. How are you?
How are you, Brian? I'm doing great.
Good.
It's
Good.
Wednesday.
It
It's
is
reboot time.
Wednesday, and we're in June, so you know, ready for the
It's
ready to kick off the
incredible
summer.
how, and the year is just cranking right on by. I don't know what's
Going
happening.
quick.
What
Going
time?
quick.
Yeah. Never a dull moment. So incident response planning, huh? That's a fun topic.
Yeah, welcome everybody. We're the reboot. I don't know. We do have, a significant amount of people in our group, and whoever can make it will make it. But
Mhm.
David and I are, I guess, the footings of this foundation, and
We're the hardcore committed.
that's it.
Right.
And then whoever else can join will join, and it may vary week to week. We may start doing some guest spots for some of our vendors that we work with and stuff like that. But yeah, today we're going to talk about incident response planning and quick introduction. I am Brian Bracci. I'm with B&L PC Solutions out of Long Island, New York.
And I am Dave Groot with WinStar Technologies, and we are in Virginia, out of DC.
Nice. So yeah, incident response planning. I mean, the more I talk to prospects these days, I'm getting it's kind of it goes in two directions. One direction is, can you help us with our policies, plannings, and
Mhm.
procedures? And then on the flip side of that is the clients or the prospects that have no inclination on what this is, and are kind of reaching out, and we're putting out there that we will help write these policies, specifically more so the business continuity and incident response plans, because those are along with your cybersecurity, but there's other things that fall in there. But the incident response plan is definitely something that resonates, because you can relate to basically what the name says. How do you respond to an incident? And if you have nothing written now, then your response is 100% reactive, and there's no guidance, nothing to follow, nothing. So I think the point of today is to kind of go over what is an incident response plan and what are some things to look for in the incident response plan, how you can practice it, which we've done with clients before, and how to possibly or potentially improve some of the things on there.
That's right. That's a
So-
perfect way of explaining it.
All right, we're
couldn't
done.
put
We
that
can end
better.
now.
We can just shutter right on
Yeah.
down. It's okay. No, but I mean that's exactly true, and I kind of liken it to, maybe it's not exact, but just to give somebody an understanding, like the time to do your incident response planning is not in an incident, right? The time to learn how to slow your car down with other things other than the brakes, you don't want to learn that when you're pressing the brake pedal and it goes straight to the floor. Right? Like you want to learn that before that happens. Have you ever pressed the brakes and had them go straight to the floor? Have you ever felt the feeling in your stomach when you realize that you're pressing the brakes and they're doing nothing, and the car is continuing to go down the road, and you have this helpless feeling in your stomach that makes you want to get sick and throw up because you have no control.
Right.
When your company gets breached, that's where you are. If you don't have an incident response plan, you're going down a hill at 100 miles an hour with several tons of cargo in the back, no brakes, and you've never driven before. That's where you are. And if that's okay for you, rock on.
Right.
Like it's all good. But the reality is, I was at a meeting this morning and I was talking to some folks about incident response, and I'll say it and then I'll let you talk again, Brian. I know I'm over. But the first question is like, and I ask this to prospects all the time, and it's the one thing that gets everybody thinking. Who do you call first?
Mm-hmm.
What's that first call? Who do I call when I know I'm in the middle of a shitstorm and I'm getting ransomware or hacked or a bunch of public record?
I think the first step is identifying it, right? So
we're assuming you've identified all this stuff, right?
Okay.
Like, I mean, I'm just saying for the incident, the response to that incident is, who do you call? Is it the insurance company? Is it the attorney? Is it your IT? Right? And who determines that? Who is the body that's going to dictate to you, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, who you should call first when you have a breach? And that typically is your cyber insurance policy. You want that claim to get paid if you have cyber insurance. So follow their process and know what that process is. Hence, incident response plan. All right, go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
No. So just I think a few things to broadly identify what how the again the plans may vary from your company to company, and some things may not be needed, and some may be a lot more detailed than others. But I think identifying the severity of the incident, SEV 1, 2, 3, right? I mean, that's
right. So like, yeah, to me, the first steps, right, are to determine the risk, right? Like that's what assessments are. Mm-hmm. That's, that's why if you talk to an IT company or a security company, the first thing they want to do is assess, where are you, right? Why? Because they need to know what you've got in play and what you don't have in play. But now one thing, what is it you're protecting? Like, what's the risk? What is my asset? What am I protecting?
Right.
Is it?
And I think, again, this is a culmination of things, because once you have that identified, right? But I think what's important is having the right tools in place to help you identify and assign a risk to it. But the tools may tell you, listen, I mean, in the past it would be, days, weeks, months before you even knew you were breached, right? So if you have if you have crappy tools in place that aren't going to identify that you've been breached, that's an even bigger issue, right? But that does fall under your plan. So if you're saying we can identify a breach, we try to identify a breach in 30 minutes or less, based on the tools that we have, the tool set that we have that deployed at this site, then you can write the plan based on that. And if you can't discover this in 30 minutes or less, well, then what do we do in order to attain that type of coverage on our network? So, our goal is to take that, obviously minimize the risk, take the, how quickly we can identify the risk. And then from there, you kick into your incident response plan. So with our tools, let's say we've discovered a breach.
Right.
Now what? Right. And
but it goes further than that, Brian. And because like think about it this way. Your company's growing. You're bringing in more people. They're working on your systems, right? Are they trained? Do they know what to do if they think that their machine is being encrypted? If they see a sign of a ransom or any kind of a breach and indicate, do they know who to tell? Do they know it's okay to tell?
Right.
Do they know it's not okay to not tell? You know what I mean? Like,
makes sense.
Because, yes, you're right. All those tools and all that is indeed the layers of defense, right? Those are the things we're trying to broaden out and mitigate that risk and spread it out so it's not all in one bucket and there's not one point of failure or one point of compromise. But when that incident has taken place and now we're in this bucket of, oh my God, we got to clean up. We're down. Our systems are down. I can't get in. I'm not doing stuff. That's when that chaos ensues, right? And now I got employees talking to the newspaper, right? Or the newspaper or some media gets wind and they know one of your employees. And so after work, they're emailing them, hey, what's going on over at your company? Blah, blah, blah. Well, like that employee might tell them all kinds of stuff and they may be right or wrong. It doesn't matter because they're speaking on behalf of your company, period. Like they work there, they're talking. And so those things, tabletop exercises, what do we do if all of our data gets deleted? What do we do if our building burns down? What do we do? Like, you got to have different incidents and different plans of attack, maybe all the same major components, but at the very least have a list of primary contacts, phone numbers, who's the C executives, who's the attorney, who's the insurance broker, and that has to be in people's hands. People who are in charge of this, and then you practice it over and over and over and over again, so that when it comes, because look, it's going to happen on some level. Everybody's going to be experiencing a breach of some kind, somewhere, sometime.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to have a plan. Like, you can't wait and wonder, oh, okay. No, it's going to destroy your company. So plan, and then practice.
Right? Yeah, the practice is important. We do that with clients. And actually so not only do we do it with clients, we also had it done to us for a client, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we went through the exercise, and it really, listen, you need to. It really is, that's it's at that point where you may identify things that are missing or just incorrect, or you didn't follow what
you didn't think about.
Exactly. Right. And what you're talking about was brought up at the last one that we did, was the fact that there was an identified breach. And again, now folks, listen, this could be a breach. Can be, I mean, incident response planning isn't just for breaches. It can be, it is for incidents. I mean, don't get hung up on breaches, because one of the scenarios we went through was that there was the entire East Coast lost all communications, cellular communication. Your internet was down, and so now you're talking about something completely different.
But it's still an incident, and you're still out of business.
Right. It is that exactly. And this was a perfect exercise, because the first thing was, on the list, well, we're going to call so and so. Well, how are you going to do that? You have no phones. Okay, so what do we do now? What do we do if we have? You know what I mean? So, and that was a perfect example. And then along those lines was the what you had just mentioned, David, was, well, this person was emailed by an outside source asking questions about it, and they responded to it. They responded to that person. Now, what is the impact on the company? Like, it just snowballs into other things. And so something that you may not even be thinking about as part of your plan is, oh wait, but now we have to educate employees, and so the key is that there's some examples where a client's computer can get, let's say it has ransomware, right? They don't know that. They just identified that on a Friday afternoon that computer got extremely slow and closed it for the weekend, or walked away for the weekend and left. Didn't tell us, didn't tell anybody, nothing was. So, that's where your tools come in to help you identify, listen, there's something going on here. But if you don't have that, then come Monday morning, all of accounting can't get into any data, and you have to correlate that back to, okay, here's what happened on Friday. It was this user. There was a PDF or an Excel macro that was opened up, whatever it was. And then from there, try to piece it together. But again, it's any type of incident, not just a breach.
No, I mean, again, like I mentioned, burning down of the building, right? That is a security incident. It's not cybersecurity, but it's a security incident. The building is physically, it's destroyed. I mean, so where's the continuity? Where's the disaster recovery? And those are all things in a good business planning session that you want to discuss as far as this incident response, right? So if you live in, I don't know, New Orleans, then you should do hurricane planning, right? Because that's a pretty good chance that you're going to see one of those one day. That's the kind of stuff that happens out there. It's not, like you say, it's not just breaches. We do tend to focus on that a little bit too much.
We do, and that's just wanted to clarify that. But it's that's kind of our space. But yeah, I mean it can be any type of incident. So I think what we generally do is we would so some of the steps are to what to write a policy, right? So there's templates out there you can start with and kind of fill in the blanks and have something. But these companies now, these even for cyber insurance, they're starting to question, do you have an incident response plan? And not only do you have it, is it tested? And so these are things that are going to become the norm, I think. And if they're not, talk to your MSP and have them, or your IT support. And if you have in-house IT, reach out to another company and just get another set of eyes in there to help you write these policies, because they are the lifeline of your business during any type of incident.
I would say, if I was to add advice on top of that, we are in a different time. And so the one thing I would say is trust but verify, right? Okay, so you have a team, you have a staff, and they're doing things, and they're trying to take care of your backups, and you're doing, whatever, and they're telling you we got it covered. You can't just assume that, right? Like, you have to have reporting and like proof. Again, if you're regulated by compliance, that's a requirement. But take that out of it, just as a cybersecurity best practice or standard, you definitely want to have that in place, because that's where all that information you're gathering, it comes from, right? I don't know. There's so many little tiny. Look, don't forget about this. Like we say, it starts with first identify what it is that I'm trying to protect. And when I say that, I'm saying that's the asset. And it can be payment information, AR, AP. All of those are business related bits of information that, if in the wrong hands, could be used against various people to cause problems in their world. And so that's where we get these things that are breaches. Okay, so if I want to stay in business, I need to know what's important. Then I need to develop that culture in my business. And the way I do that is I educate my people. I don't have to be crazy about this. I just got to tell them to be smart and regularly say, hey, you know what? When you get that email and there's a link, think, like, please don't click it unless you absolutely know without a question that it's what it is. I
think we're seeing a lot more of banners and emails, like banners saying this is coming outside your organization. And these are results of what we're talking about. It's putting certain things in place, and we have mail tips enabled on clients that send out, letting you know this is going outside your organization. So just little things that are,
we have messages that say, you're sending a social security number, like you can have it set up any which way you like. But in our case, it's like, hey, you're sending out social security or banking information. Is that okay? And, is that what you mean to do? Right.
And like, will this email be encrypted or
block it or approve it or override it or whatever? Right.
Yeah.
Know what you're protecting. And then you got to teach the people that it's important. Right. Because one mistake by any one of those folks can bring you down. And then again, play it out and refine it. And just because I have sat on people in incidents, post-mortem and during, and I'm telling you, what I have seen these business owners, like when this is all done and they're in the middle of it and they're ready to die. I mean, like, they are just devastated. Their whole world upside down, everything turned around, all at risk, 100%. And you can't, there's no second chance. It doesn't come back. They got to get it right one time. That's it.
Yep.
And I keep preaching that, but it's what it is.
It is what it, exactly. It's and that's all we can do, right? We can just keep talking about it and pushing and stressing the importance of it. And I don't have as many. We're not doing it for as many clients as I would like, but it is a conversation that we have every quarter, and just try to listen. This is and granted, you have to kind of do it around your clients' availability, but I think now there's just so much out there that we're hearing from them now. And when I actually emailed you yesterday, David, right? We have a prospect that needs to be, they're doing government work. They need to follow the cybersecurity framework, and this is in there. So it's there. It's not.
So insurance companies are starting to require these things too, right? So if you're getting cyber insurance, they're making sure they want to know that your employees are getting security awareness training. They want to know that you're using an EDR. They want to know certain things are in play. And that's going to get worse and worse. So they're driving the awareness, because they're the ones who are paying the ransoms, right? Like when the company gets burned, they're going to their insurance company. And so the insurance company is like, holy cow, we got to make sure you guys know about this, because that's not working for us. That's now I literally just sat in on a security meeting 20 minutes before this phone call. And we're talking about insurance companies who are enticing their clients to put on their monitoring packages, so that offering them a reduced insurance rate, so that they can then tell them when their stuff isn't up to smack,
right?
Right.
Right.
Which
right.
on the surface sounds like, okay, man, they're doing a really good favor to the business owner. But really what they're doing is they're worrying about themselves. They don't care about the business owner. And they're doing it. So the problem I see with that is if you have a company like us who's helping you and taking care of your security, we have no access to that system.
Exactly.
So I don't know what they're seeing. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what is going on in there. So what good is it? Like, so make sure that and they make it sound like you have to do it, but you don't. You don't have to do it. You just have to have these things in place. Well, they can't tell you have to buy it from them.
It's no, I mean, the reality is, and this is black and white. If you go through your questionnaire for your insurance and they point blank ask you, do you have a written incident response plan? And you say yes to that, and you are subsequently breached or there's an incident, and they will come in there and let me see your incident response plan, and you don't have one, now you have a bigger problem because now you have insurance fraud, and you have, not only do you not have coverage, and right. So it's not worth it.
Listen, Brian, I think you and I both know every one of the who do anything with credit cards fill out a standard questionnaire every year, and that standard questionnaire only if you want to pass. If you don't say yes, you fail.
Yeah.
I promise 97% of the companies are going right on down the list, and none of them even know what they're saying they're doing.
Yep.
It's scary. That's fraud. It just is. It's willful negligence.
It is. And to just reiterate, the tabletop exercises are I mean, at a minimum once a year. I mean, but I mean, it's something that, again, it could have on there, you have on there a call tree on who calls who, and maybe these 3 people are gone or they've been replaced, and you may not just think to do that. I'll call Steve. Right. Well, Steve died 2 years ago.
Steve who? Yeah, right. Like, I never met Steve. Who's that?
Yeah. So
yeah, no, I mean, that is so true. I can say also that I have seen in some cases, in many cases, really, it actually helps, improve the business overall, right? Just the process and operations, because they're starting to think about things in the way that one action impacts others. And a lot of people, like, people who start businesses are not stupid people, but they're not always in, business savvy, right? Like, they have a skill, and so they start a business. And so that doesn't mean they know how to run a business.
Right.
And so what I'm saying is you can be super smart and still not have it right. It's no reflection on that. There's no judgment.
No.
You got to look at those things. And then when you do, it starts to make you think of those aspects in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, and at the very least, which I think we get the point across, is you are strengthening your security posture, right? You're taking that step, and needs to be done. Can't stress it enough. I mean, we can go over this, but this was, I think, a good topic to cover, and reach out to your local carrier, reach out to one of us. You need help with it, help writing these things, testing them, whatever it is. It's just it's that important, and it can't be overlooked. I mean, I still get, David, I still walk into prospects, and I still get the guy that knows nothing about computers. I'm like, you know something. Something about, this is not about computers. This is, you're intelligent enough to understand that if there's a risk there and there's going to be a subsequent consequence to that risk, let's identify it, and let's put these tools in place. They get it. And again, and it's not expensive. It's not expensive.
Listen, here's the alternative. I mean, hackers, they don't have, they're not polite, right? They don't care. And B, they're going to wait till you're off. And then they're going to burn it, and you're going to come in on the weekend or after the weekend or after vacation or after 4th of July or whatever. And you're going to, there is never a bad time for you to be preparing for these things.
Exactly.
And they are not going to care. Getting the time of that owner, I know that that's important, and it's always often looked at as very valuable. But I'm sorry, look at the consequence of the reverse. Because when you go on vacation on 4th of July, and you come back and your payroll system is gone, right? Now you've got a really big problem. And if you think that the finding time to get together to do an incident response plan was a problem, wait until we say, let's find some time to go through this mess, okay? Yep. Trust me, spend the time and the money, because it's way less expensive to do it ahead of time than it is after. And last thing I'll say is someday we should do an incident response tabletop on Reboot just as a mock.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Absolutely.
So people could see how that kind of goes.
I couldn't agree more.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we kind of, we got our points across here, stress the importance of it. And I think that, it's one of those things where it's not just buzzwords. I mean, this is now a part of business culture, and it needs to be something that's taken seriously. And, like I said, reach out to your local team and get some help on the subject if they can't handle it for you. But
that's right.
We'll end on that.
And frankly, there isn't a team out there that can handle all of it, right?
Exactly.
So everybody needs tough is all I'm trying to say. I don't
Even
care
us.
if it's
We still.
That's right.
Exactly. Everyone.
We have partners. We have vendors.
Exactly,
we have.
exactly.
We don't know it all. I'm not. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I can't say that. I never would.
No, not today.
Not today. Not ever. But okay. All right. I think it was
all right,
good.
Dave. Thank you.
About this. Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week, Wednesday at 1:30 Eastern. Have a good day.
Stay safe. Everybody stay well.